My name's Kyle, I'm 40, and I work as a programmer at an IT company. I married Emily, who's the same age as me, 12 years ago. At the time we got married, I was just a low-level programmer and didn't make much, so we lived in a cramped one-bedroom apartment. Emily was a homemaker, so she took care of most of the household chores.
Kyle, just focus on your work, get promoted quickly.
She'd say.
And then become rich so we can live in a high-rise condo.
She'd always add that, like it was her catchphrase. But honestly, I wasn't much interested in climbing the corporate ladder. I preferred to enhance my programming skills and do interesting work. Becoming a manager meant I wouldn't be able to code freely, and I resisted that. Plus, I didn't want to become the kind of workaholic who neglects his family. Becoming a manager might mean even busier days, maybe less time for family, you know.
Kyle, you shouldn't worry about family time. A man's worth is measured by how hard he works and the money he earns. Just work tirelessly and put in overtime every day.
This mindset seems dangerous in today's world. Before we got married, Emily wasn't so obsessed with money. The gap surprised me and led to constant arguments. One day, my coworker George came over to celebrate my marriage. George and I started at the company at the same time and he works in sales. George is a real charmer and quite popular among the female staff at our company.
Nice to meet you, Emily. I've heard a lot from Kyle, and you are indeed lovely.
He said.
Oh really? That's nice to hear, thank you. And you too, George. Your outfit is very stylish, and that watch must be quite expensive, right?
George, being handsome and stylish, really stands out.
Kyle, why don't you try to dress a bit more stylishly like George?
I'm not really into clothes and watches, I said.
That's exactly why you're not making it.
She retorted.
At work, it's always hoodies and jeans for me.
I'm a programmer. I don't usually meet with clients, so it's fine.
George, you wear suits to work since you meet with clients, right?
Yes, I always dress appropriately for client meetings.
He replied. Emily and George continued to chat happily about fashion.
By the way, George, how much do you make? Is it about the same as Kyle?
Hey, Emily, what's with the sudden money talk? That's not something you just bring up. I was surprised when Emily suddenly started asking George about how much he makes.
It's fine, really. Emily, you're funny. I probably make about the same as Kyle.
But I'm really selling a lot, so there might be a gap soon.
Wow, that's impressive, George. You really have that go-getter vibe, which is how a man should be.
Money is everything, after all. I love power and money more than anything and want them. In a couple of years, I'll have many subordinates and be living in a high-rise condo.
Awesome, George, you're amazing.
They hit it off and continued drinking and chatting. But George, while a smooth talker, isn't really that great at his job. Among our sales cohort, those who can truly perform are usually promoted to leadership, but George makes a lot of mistakes and isn't rated very highly, recently doing more menial tasks. It seems there's a weird pride or value system among the sales staff, thinking they're better than programmers, and I think he's trying to show me up. After this day, George started coming over more frequently. Every time, Emily happily entertained George when he visited. A few months later, a baby girl, whom I had eagerly hoped for, was born. The reason I specifically say, I had hoped for, is because Emily wasn't happy at all. It seemed she hadn't wanted to have the baby. She even hesitated about having the baby when she found out she was pregnant. I had hoped that seeing our baby's face might change Emily's feelings, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Hey Emily, since we have Catherine here, could you please quit smoking?
What's the big deal? A smoke is fine.
Emily would try to smoke even in the room with Catherine, and she left almost all of the baby care to me. Given the situation, I couldn't feel at ease going to work, so I asked if I could work remotely. After that, I stayed at home, working while taking care of Catherine. Emily, There are dishes left in the kitchen and the laundry is piling up.
So what? You're at home all the time too, just do it yourself. Could you not just give orders? Do I look like your maid?
Emily stopped doing most of the housework and taking care of our daughter. I had a hard time managing work, baby care, and housework all by myself, so I repeatedly asked Emily to help, but she wouldn't listen and eventually snapped.
You keep nagging over and over. I'm sick of being in this house. I can't live with you, Kyle. I'm leaving, let's get a divorce.
That's quite a leap to suddenly bring up divorce. What about Catherine? I was shaken by the sudden mention of divorce.
I can't possibly take care of a child. I'll give you custody of Catherine. Good for you, you get to have Catherine all to yourself.
That's not the point, is it?
No need to worry about court or alimony. Be grateful you're getting custody.
It became clear that Emily had no affection for Catherine. For me, continuing to live with Emily seemed impossible, and I wanted to cut ties as soon as possible.
I'll prepare the divorce papers and sign them first, just handle the rest whenever.
And so, we officially divorced, and Emily left the house. After the divorce, I received support from my family. My mom helped with the housework, and my dad took over caring for my daughter. Thanks to that, I was able to return to my usual work pace and even go to the office a few times a week. When I showed up at the office, George approached me with a smirk.
Isn't that Kyle? Are you sure you should be at the company? Must be tough handling the housework and childcare all by yourself.
Well, I was basically doing it alone anyway. Now that my parents are helping, it might even be easier than when I was living with Emily.
Oh, well, good for you.
George seemed unamused. Then, George brought up something totally unexpected.
By the way, it looks like I might be moving in with Emily soon.
What, really?
She seems to have nowhere to go, and I feel sorry for her.
Although George often visited my house and seemed to get along well with Emily, enjoying their time together, I never expected them to start living together. Especially not so soon after the divorce. There was one thing that particularly bothered me, so I hesitated but decided to ask George outright. So moving in together means you guys are dating, right?
Well, yeah, you could say that.
I see. Just out of curiosity, when did you guys start dating?
What? That's none of your business. I don't need to tell you everything.
Well, I guess so, but it crossed my mind that maybe these two had been seeing each other even before Emily and I divorced.
Well, that's how it is, man. It's tough being popular. Don't hate me, okay? More like, don't be jealous. You just stay lonely and take care of your daughter.
I wonder if George came here just to gloat. It's really petty, and I'm not actually lonely taking care of my daughter. I love my daughter, and I find the daily task of watching her grow quite fulfilling. And honestly, I felt much lonelier when I was married to Emily. Since Emily didn't do any housework or childcare, I considered asking my parents for help, but she was strongly against it. She probably thought they'd scold her or something. Anyway, I am happier and more fulfilled now than when I was living with Emily. So, as far as I'm concerned, George can date or live with Emily all he wants. Also, I heard that he might be getting transferred to a subcontractor of an affiliated company. He's probably panicking and just wants to show off. A month later, George was transferred to the affiliated company. It's said that a transfer there means little chance of returning to the main office or advancing. I was recognized for my achievements and promoted to the youngest development director at my company. 5 years after the divorce, both my career and personal life reached significant turning points. First, talking about work, the product I developed and the project I was involved in turned out to be a massive hit, selling like hotcakes. Additionally, we obtained a patent for it, bringing tremendous profits to the company. This led to my promotion to the youngest development director at the company. With this comes greater responsibility, but it's truly fulfilling work. As for my personal life, I ended up remarrying. And the person I married is actually the daughter of the president of the company I work for. After the divorce, the president saw how I managed work, housekeeping, and childcare, and he personally proposed the match. My new wife, Karen, and I hit it off over several meals and dates, and she gets along well with my daughter, who also likes her. Everything went smoothly, and we got married. Karen loves kids and takes great care of my daughter. She's also a fantastic cook and makes delicious meals every day. Divorcing Emily was definitely the right decision, and I thought this happiness would last forever. But 10 years after the divorce, suddenly, Emily called my office. I had blocked her from my personal contacts. I never expected her to call my office.
Hello, Kyle. It's been a while, about 10 years, right?
Why are you calling me at work?
What's up? Are you mad? Can we meet? It's been a while.
What? There's no need to meet and talk. What do you want?
That can wait until we meet. I just really want to talk to you.
I don't know what Emily intends, but she insists on talking. If I hang up, she'll probably call again soon, or she might even show up at the office. Alright, just this once.
Don't be so cold saying it's just once. Well, it's good we're going to meet up anyway, I guess. See you later then, Kyle.
So, after work, I went to the pub Emily had picked out. There, Emily was waiting for me in the smoking section, having a cigarette.
Hard to find a place to smoke these days, but this place has a smoking section.
It seemed Emily had chosen this place just so she could smoke. Her selfish nature hadn't changed at all. So, what did you want to talk about?
Come on, let's toast with a beer to celebrate our reunion.
Emily seemed to have already had a few drinks before I arrived. I didn't feel like celebrating our reunion. I'm not in the mood to drink, and I don't plan on staying long, so can you just tell me what this is about?
What's with the cold shoulder? Fine, I'll drink alone then.
Saying this, Emily called the server and ordered some more alcohol.
I heard you're living in a high-rise condo now, Kyle.
Yeah, that's true. But what about it?
So it really is true, huh? I see. I was just curious after hearing it from George.
Oh, I see. That explains it. Things going well with George. I wasn't really interested in Emily and George's relationship, but I asked anyway.
George? He's nothing special. Why do you ask?
Well, I heard from George that he started living with you right after we divorced.
What? He said that? That's definitely a lie. We're just friends, that's it.
Whatever, doesn't matter to me either way. I really didn't care, I just wanted to leave.
But Kyle, you've done well for yourself over the past 10 years. To celebrate your hard work, or let's call it a 10-year anniversary, I'll marry you again.
I fell silent. I was so stunned by Emily's words, I froze for a while.
What's wrong? Got you speechless. Are you moved, Kyle?
No, that's not it. I remarried 5 years ago.
What? Are you kidding?
It's true, there's no point in lying about something like this.
That's a lie, because George didn't mention it.
I didn't make a public announcement at the company. Emily's face turned from cheerful to stern.
But George works on the same floor, there's no way he wouldn't know. And he knows you live in a high-rise condo.
Who knows, maybe he just heard it through the grapevine. George was transferred to an affiliate company years ago, so he's not even at the same company anymore.
What? Transferred?
Yeah, you didn't know. Apparently, Emily was unaware that George had been transferred. Emily, furious, started calling George right there.
Hello, I just heard you've been transferred to an affiliate company. Is that true? What? That's the worst, your salary hasn't increased and now this explains it. Fine, whatever, I have Kyle who lives in a high-rise condo.
Listening to this phone call, I thought they really were involved. But her saying she had me then scared me a bit.
I'm not coming back to your tiny apartment anymore. I'll live in Kyle's high-rise condo, so this is goodbye.
Emily turned to me, smiled sweetly looking up, and started speaking.
So, shall we go to our high-rise condo?
No, I've remarried and I live with my new wife and Catherine.
That's a lie, definitely a lie. Then show me proof, or I won't believe it. We're going to the high-rise condo now, show me your new wife.
Feeling frightened but thinking she'd persist if I didn't comply, I reluctantly agreed to take Emily to the condo where I lived. Of course, I wouldn't let her inside, and decided we'd meet Karen and Catherine at the entrance. See, are you satisfied now? Can you please leave?
Are you his new wife? Who do you think you are, living in such a fancy place? Just because Kyle has money now, you seduced him with your charms, didn't you?
How can I make this clear, Kyle?
I'll explain. Karen is the daughter of the company president, and he introduced her to me occasionally. And this condo was a wedding gift from him. Emily started shaking and braced herself to say something.
What? Only you get to have all the good things. By the way, Catherine is actually George's child. How about that? Are you surprised, Kyle? How do you feel knowing the truth? Look, you can't keep a family going in this situation, right? Your family will fall apart, right? Then, Kyle, I'll live in this high-rise condo with you.
Emily seemed almost desperate.
What's this lady even talking about, Mom?
Yeah.
We had a DNA test about Catherine, and I knew she wasn't my child, Emily. I've discussed this with Catherine, Karen, and of course, the president, and we are living happily now. If you stay here any longer, I'm calling the police.
Damn it, what the heck? I'm leaving.
Before Emily left, I had one more thing to say. Oh, by the way, you confessed about your affair with George before we divorced, right? Now I can finally claim alimony. Be prepared.
Whoa.
Later, I heard from a lawyer that George had caused some problems at the affiliate company and had been fired. He's unemployed now, so he might struggle to pay the alimony. Emily is unemployed too and ostracized by her family. Without George, she might not make it. I was worried when Emily suddenly showed up, but now, life is back to peaceful days, and we are living happily as a family.